Two very important skills in landscape photography is one, obviously to be able to recognize the good photograph, and two, being able to adapt to the situation. In this video, I will show you 2 sessions of photography where I had a preconceived idea of a wide angle photo. And I even made the mistake of expecting these 2 sessions to be part of last week's video on sunset wide angle photography. However, as it turned out, it was the telephoto zoom lens that worked the best those evenings. So instead of scrapping those 2 sessions, I'm putting them into this video because I think it is a great lesson learned, and I actually really want to show you these telephoto zoom lens photos because they turned out really good. The first session is from a beautiful sunset in the rural countryside of Denmark. So I have come out to this lone tree and I have put on the wide angle lens, my 12-24, and I'm trying to catch this lone tree right here. The sunset looks fairly promising. As you can see, there's a really beautiful glow out here in the background. I actually ought to go all the way back and photograph it with the long lens instead. I think I'm going to do that also. But this is a video about using the wide angle lens. And this is why you shouldn't only own a wide angle lens, because sometimes it makes more sense to actually use a long lens. 24-105 or 70-200, 100-400. However, I can see that the clouds are moving towards me, so at some point, hopefully, they will be in a place where it's beneficial to use the wide angle lens. In regard to the composition, it is not hard. Put the tree straight in the middle and wait for the clouds to be epic. I am including a little bit of the foreground. These foreground clovers, I am not sure how much they add to the entire scene because they are a little bit far between them, so the foreground might be a little bit cluttered actually right here. Yeah, it's basically just about waiting right now. If you do get a wide angle lens, be sure to get one that can also zoom in, because then you have more opportunities, especially on a night like this where you have seen one shot already and it was a bit like meh. So right now I have just moved all the way back, put on 24-105 and zoomed all the way in. And I gotta say, tonight with the clouds as they are, that was the right choice. Just see here. Alright, so this here is a school example of just having the entire focal range from, well, at least 16 to 200 millimeter, because right now I am at 200 millimeter on my 100-400 millimeter lens, and the sky is just going nuclear-ish. Beautiful. Check this out. The reason why the telephoto lens was the better option than the wide-angle lens in this example is because of the perspective compression that you can get with a telephoto lens. If you struggle with composition in landscape photography, be sure to get my 2 ebooks. They're designed to be easy to read and are full of examples. You can get them and the light versions via the links down in the description. The second session is from the same couple of hills I visited in my Comet Neowise video and in my heather photography video from a couple of weeks ago. The weather cleared around sunset, which gave some absolutely stunning and beautiful atmospheric conditions. Actually some of the best I've ever seen in Denmark, if not the best. But here is the wide angle photography session first, which in hindsight actually turned out pretty good. Oh, so I seriously missed the light by 5 seconds. I kid you not. I'm setting up the camera. I am focusing, dialing in the settings, and then the light disappears. Oh, I bet I'm not the only one who've tried that, but wow, that was annoying. So I am back at a location that I was at in my first heather photography video. I'm not even sure I have been making more. I have a little bit lost count in how I'm putting together these videos, but it's a beautiful place, and as you can see here, I have this staircase leading up to this tree here. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. The idea was to have light on the foreground. So you can see right here I have the staircase and the heather lit up. That being said, I think the heather is actually benefiting more from not being lit by the sun, because orange plus purple kind of gives brown. So the heather probably doesn't look too good. But with this composition right here, I'm actually benefiting quite a lot from this bush of heather, patch of heather here in the foreground, and then leading up to the background. But that is also a big part of sunset photography, that you don't always get the orange colors, but then you will get the post sunset colors, so those deep purples and blues, and that looks really nice too, especially when you combine it with a foreground that is also purple-ish. As I figured on location, it was probably better not to have the heather lit by the setting sun, and I'm actually quite happy about this photo, which definitely is different to the photo I got of the same scene a few days earlier. If you haven't seen that video, be sure to check it out afterwards. But as I said, some atmospheric conditions were brewing, so I changed my mind from wide angle photography to telephoto photography. So I truly believe that this is probably the most amazing, mind-blowing atmospheric conditions that I have ever witnessed in Denmark. I feel like a kid in a candy shop. I feel like a dog chasing wheels. I don't know what to do here. It's like I'm just reacting and shooting, and fog over there, beautiful depth with all the layers of all the trees here. This is just over here, absolutely just gorgeous upon gorgeous upon gorgeous. These photos here are, it's just mood photos. You don't have to think too much about them. It is photos you want to hang on your wall because they are just making you feel at peace. This is what this is. And I am absolutely astounded astounded by this. I usually say that you shouldn't go to the top of a mountain or a hill, because you will, for the most part, be photographing down. And that is exactly what you would want to do right here, right now, this evening. Or at least shoot just so that you get all the top of the trees all the way through. Layers upon layers upon layers. Like, I don't think I have seen photos like this from Denmark before. This looks like something from Rocky Mountains or Smoky Mountains. Is that a thing that they're called? I think Smoky Mountains, yeah. Obviously because they are like smoking. Or England or Germany or Austria. Not Denmark. Wow. This is so much fun. So settings wise, it is quite simple. It is getting dark, but I've of course put on the long lens 100 to 400, and it is just about picking out all those small scenes out, not in the horizon, but along the top of the trees here. And aperture priority, I'm on f16. I'm varying between f16 and f11. I think it's enough with f11, but I'm on f16 just to be sure that I have the entire depth of field, and that gives me a shutter speed of 1 second. I have put the camera on silent shooting, so there's nothing mechanical moving inside of it. And yeah, it gives me a shutter speed of 1 second. And I will have to have a self timer on 5 seconds, simply just so I don't disturb the camera and I don't get any shakiness. But besides that, very simple. ISO 100 to get the clean photo. So I can honestly say I have never seen anything like this in Denmark before. This is perfect timing, the right place. Wow. And the reason why the wide angle lens doesn't work in this example is because it doesn't have the reach of the telephoto zoom lens. If I hadn't had the telephoto zoom lens with me, I wouldn't have been able to zoom into all those beautiful detailed compositions along the top of the forests. If you struggle with composition in landscape photography, be sure to get my 2 ebooks. They're designed to be easy to read and are full of examples. You can get them and the light versions via the links down in the description. If you enjoyed this video and want to see even more, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and as always, I would highly appreciate both a like and a comment.